Alright, so I'm back, and today we're going to be taking a look at Toyworld's Hegemon, aka Classics Megatron. And here he is in his robot mode. This is how my new setup is going to start working. I was going to replace the white with gray, but because the gray was actually pretty close to the Megatron gray, I decided to stick with the white for this last review and then move on to the gray in the next episode. So, the way we're going to do this from now on, and I appreciate everyone's input on the question on that, on how to continue doing it. Way I'm going to start doing it is I'm going to go from robot mode to alternate mode. Or first, robot mode, go over articulation, accessories and stuff. Go to alternate mode, go back to robot mode, and then give my final thoughts and size comparisons. So the end of the videos will still have the size comparisons. Now I know not everybody comes in robot mode, but I think this will be a good formula so that you can see it go back and forth and still end in robot mode, so I can still do the comparisons and such. So anyway, we'll take a look at him here. As you can see, he's Megatron. I mean, pretty clearly. He does not come with a Decepticon logo, but I just couldn't have a Megatron without a Decepticon logo. So, you see his back is pretty kibbly. And mine seems to be having a hard time standing straight. Let's see. There we go. That did the trick. Yeah, there we go. I don't know. He's meant to be more like bow-legged, but getting him to stand straight up is a little bit more tricky because of the way the legs are designed. Anyway, for accessories, he does, come with the instructions, bio card, all that stuff. Honestly, you don't really need this for this guy. It's actually pretty straightforward, to be honest. I haven't even opened them yet. And he does come with a black head with a different face sculpt. Zoom in here. There we go. And there is the black head. So it's just on a ball joint. You can pop it off, pop it back on. The black head is more reminiscent of the original cartoons or original comic books, and I believe the original commercials for the toys. So that is pretty cool that they did that. Not something I'm ever going to use though. So, and I'm very hesitant on pulling off ball joints on third-party figures. That never seems to work out well for me, so we're just not going to do it. He does come with this Energon mace. It's on a chain. It's pretty cool. Take this off, and you just take the chain and you just let it slide into the ball, and then you can just plug it in, and then it's just a flail. Or it was a flail, now it's a mace. And you can just plug it back into his hand. It's just bottom part cut open, and then there's just the peg in there. Pretty simple, but it works. He also comes with his cannon. This does detach. I wish that this was the reverse, whereas this was the plug, or this had the plug and this had the hole, so that other characters could hold it, because I know sometimes in the show that happened. I guess you could do this and just have somebody hold it. It kind of works, I guess. So we'll set that off to the side for just a second here. You don't need to take anything off for transformation, but sometimes it's a little bit helpful. Head is on a ball joint. Gets a little up and down. These Trays for his head for transformation don't lock in very good. For the most part, they're pretty stable, but every now and then they kind of come undone. But his head is on a ball joint, side to side, real easy, and a little up and down. Shoulders on ratchets, up and down. He's got the outward bicep swivel. I kind of wish that this whole assembly was on a double pin joint, because that just looks a little goofy, but it works. Bicep swivel, ratchet elbows, and then the hands are on swivel joints, and they also kind of go in and out. Now mine, this is true testament of quality control here. Mine came with 2 right fists. So I emailed TF Source. Hopefully they can do something with it. But yeah, they just pull off. They're just mushroom peg joints. So there's nothing really difficult about that if I get a new hand. These little back pieces swivel out, and that makes the waist swivel. This whole top assembly is also on a swivel too, but all the kibble in the back really hinders it. So hips rotate up and down, in and out. There's a thigh swivel, ratcheted knee, pretty decent bend on the knee. Foot is on a ball joint, so goes around, up, down. Let's see here. Instructions. Yeah, instruction. My only question was like if this is supposed to be like this, but according to instructions, it's supposed to be like this. And this is the second production run. This is not the first production. It doesn't come with the silencer, the scope, anything like... well, it comes with the scope, but it doesn't come with the silencer or anything like that. Or the stock. Which is a little unfortunate. Because they're the same price. Now, my concerns for this figure are still the same as they've always been. Even before I got them, is the fact that like the elbows here are that clear plastic, so I don't know about longevity there, and the whole inside of the legs are also that clear plastic. Like the ball joint here moves on the clear plastic, so again, I don't know how long that's going to last. Hopefully I don't come into an issue with it, but yeah. So let's get into transformation, and then we'll see how cool he looks there, and then get him back into robot mode. So to transform him, first thing you want to do is just pull these pieces open, and you rotate the head around so it's on the inside, and just close it up. Then you want to take this arm here, and you unpeg it. There's a little peg hole that slots in there. Rotate this around, and then this all just kind of slides down. It's on a kind of a swiveled hinge that just kind of rotates down. Flip the hand in, and then close up that back section there. And then this piece really does not want to stay on. I have a really hard time keeping that on. Like I said, you don't need to take anything off, but that piece generally falls off. Just kind of get everything out of the way here. This is another part that really I do not like. But you unpeg this section here, and this is supposed to fold down to the back. So you just kind of have to clear things out of the way and just kind of get it back there. Like that. It's a tight fit getting that long stem around here, but it's doable. Once you get it there, flip the fist in, collapse that in, and it just all pegs together like so. we're going to leave the barrel, or the scope up there for a minute. Alright, now you want to rotate this piece out like so. And this piece will rotate around like that. Slide the whole assembly back just a little ways, and that came off. You rotate this piece around like so, and make sure everything's lined up here. And that piece came off. Like I said, these things have a really hard time staying in place. So, but they're all on just 5mm portholes. So if they come off, they come off. Who cares? Alright, now for the legs, you want to rotate them in like so. Flip up the toes. Slide this whole assembly up like so. Collapse that all together. Just lock it in. Move these pieces out of the way here. And then this whole assembly will slide up. Now, you take this piece here and it swivels around like this, and then you unfold it and it just kind of comes down here. Now there's a little peg right here that slots into this slot right here. So that peg goes there. So just kind of line that up. And this is on one of those double hinges, so you just got to make sure it's all lined up properly. And just lock it into place. And you can see I got a little stress mark forming right there. Where that pin is. And that, again, makes me question the longevity of this figure. And do the same thing over here. This just kind of folds out. It comes around like this. Again, there's a peg right here that puts in that slot right there. It's just kind of, and it doesn't like click in, it just kind of softly pegs in. So, and you fold this piece up, fold this piece up, and they just kind of slot in like that. And this whole assembly comes back, and there's two pegs right here. They'll plug in right back here, and then there's little tab slots here, 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 and here. They'll tab into these slots right here, 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 and here, and just kind of make sure that's pushed all the way back, and it won't go any further. Then you got it right, and you just peg everything in. And it doesn't, there we go. Alright, so we got that portion done. Now we got to take this piece here, and it rotates up. Or, no, rotate this around, and then rotates up. You want to have these two slots on the inside of this joint, because this slot right here will peg into these two slots up here. Just kind of peg that in, you rotate that around. Take the trigger here, and let's see, it goes this way. So we'll peg that back in, rotate this around, and that came undone. And this will slide up. Now these pegs here and here are supposed to slot into those two slots right there and there. Mine didn't line up properly, so this piece is like pretty much broken off. There's another peg at the end of the trigger that slots into the bottom of the hand, or into the handle right there. And then you take this piece here and you just plug it back in. It rotates around, and then there's some slots in there that the pegs will peg into. So there you go. And there you have Megatron in his gun mode. You know, it's okay. It's better. It's a better representation of a gun mode than the classics. It's not a Nerf gun; it's an actual gun. Transformation is a little fidgety, and things don't. I mean, like you can see here, like the trigger here doesn't line up properly because things don't slot in properly on mine, and it just all around it doesn't fit very well in gun mode. It doesn't get together in a way that makes me go, oh, that's very relieving. It's more of a, well, I guess that kind of works thought. So, but trigger is on a spring, so you can pull it back. You know, and it would be such a little thing, but I kind of wish it clicked. There's just a little click in there, but it just goes back and forth. So, yeah. So let's get them back into robot mode, shall we? So you unpeg this, rotate this around, unpeg this, rotate this around, take this trigger, unpeg that, rotate it up, take this whole assembly down, and rotate this around. Let's see, how's the easiest way to do this? I think fold this piece back, rotate this around, just trying to keep everything out of the way so that we can get that really difficult part out of the way first. So you unpeg this, and this will come, yeah, see, it's not even gonna let me do that. Slide that over, and you rotate this out, and see, it doesn't, there's not enough clearance to really get it through. So it's pretty much, you gotta bend the plastic to get it done, and I really don't like that. So just get it past that point, and then it goes up there. Slide this back like so. This piece will lock in up here. Like so. Rotate the arm down. Now you got this horrible jumbled mess. This piece will come, or rotate this whole waist assembly around. Flip this back, and then you just kind of put the trigger on his back like that, however you want to. Slide the arm down, flip out the fist, rotate this around, and around like so. This will slide all the way down. Rotate the cannon. Rotate this up. This will slide down, and again, you want to just swivel this around, and that peg will go into that hole there. And just trying to get that lined up. And it's not wanting to do that. Get that in there. Come on, go in, go in, go in. It really does not want to go in. And I really don't want to push too hard because I got Toyworld's trace in the other day too, and that first transformation, it just snapped right in half. So Toyworld's quality is kind of going downhill. There we go. Got it. Whew, that was difficult. So unpeg all of this. Rotate this up. This folds in. This just sits on the back. Rotate this around so the ball joint's on the back. Rotate. Collapse, collapse. Like so. Slide the legs down. This will all come together there. Unpeg this. And pull out the feet. Swivel it around, flip out the toes. Flip the hand out. Again, it's backwards because I don't have the appropriate left hand. Get this trigger back here out of the way. Make sure everything's good to go back here. Plug this back in. Open up this chest cavity. Flip out the head. Collapse back in. And there is Toyworld's Hegemon, aka Megatron, in robot mode. And yeah, as you can tell during the review, I had multiple issues with him. Things don't hold together. There's stress marks. The gun mode is, I mean, it's better than the Nerf gun, but the gun mode is questionable. And there's a couple parts that really make me concerned, like getting this arm over to this side. I wish that they had designed that a little bit easier to maneuver, but they didn't. So, and I don't have Orion to show you in comparison because I sold him. But let's get Classics Megatron out here. So here he is next to Classics Megatron. And he is a lot better, but he's not a whole lot bigger. You know, a lot of promo pictures, and a lot of promo pictures really did this to this figure, where he'll be standing up straight, and you'll have the Classics Megatron with his legs spread wide, you know, and at weird angles. So that really didn't show off the scale difference. I mean, to the head, let me get this big sword. To the head, Hegemon is maybe like this much taller. I mean, seriously, it is barely. I mean, it is just. It's not as big of a difference as I had anticipated. You know, like I said, they made him seem like he was a lot bigger than Classics Megatron, and he's really not. Yeah, he looks more G1, but he's not that much bigger than the official product, which is very unfortunate. When you really think about it in terms like that, and I have to say that's extremely disappointing. I do have these the Fire Fuhrer or whatever set on the way, that gives him basically moon shoes to make him a little bit taller. So hopefully that will make that a little bit better there. Let's see here. Here he is next to the Seeker mold. Poor Acid Storm. Who goes up to about his waist, so he's a decent size. I'm looking at deluxes. Get him out of the way. And here he is next to Thrust, the new iGear Seekers. Who is to the head just a little shorter, so that's about right. Starscream and the Seekers should be shorter than Megatron. Yeah, he's got the cone, so he's technically taller, but if it were just to the head, it'd be there, and he'd be about half head taller. So there's that. I was going to do like huge, pretty much a second Decepticon army look, but quite frankly, I don't really like it enough to warrant cracking out every single figure I own. But here he is next to the TFC Scavenger. Goes up to about mid-chest. So it's, again, a great scale. Let's see, here is next to Bovis, who's about a head shorter, so that's good. And let's see who else I got readily available. Here's against the new Tankor figure. Goes up to about his thigh. Seriously, this is a really, really dinky little deluxe. And here he is next to Classics Optimus Prime, who looks significantly shorter than he does. The where'd Classic Megs go? Now the Classics Meg, it's interesting because I always imagine him being about the same size of the Prime as Classics Prime, but truthfully, I mean, when you're looking at this scale, yeah. I guess Prime wasn't as tall as Megatron. He's about a head shorter, which is about right. And then he's a little taller than him, so he almost towers over Optimus. Which always made me go like, oh, well, now I need a new Optimus that's going to be bigger, because Optimus and Megatron should be about the same size. But I can't get Orion for a good price. So, here he is next to iGear's Faith Leader, which I just got into. And as you can see, he is about a head shorter than the Megatron. So once I get the feet, hopefully that'll give him enough height to really battle the Faith Leader here. But as you can see, I mean, I think Optimus scales pretty well here against this Megatron. And the fact that he looks more like a G1 Megatron and he looks more like a G1 Optimus, I think that really, really works much better than Orion. I know everyone likes Orion, and I liked Orion, but he wasn't G1 enough, and I think the Faith Leader here really pulls it off, although he's got problems. And we'll get into that when I review him. I'm actually going to be doing Warning Line next. Yeah, we'll just throw him out here, too, so you can see how he stacks up against new Protectobot. So, about mid-chest. So it was a good deluxe. So yeah, let's see here. I think that's just about it. Wish I had Hercules put together so I can put him in there, but he's actually in pieces at the moment. But yeah, I think overall, he looks nice in robot mode. I like the way he looks. Now, being that he's a second production run and he's being sold for the same price as the first production run, but it comes with a lot less stuff, it has to give me a knock against him. It has to. I mean, that's you know, I mean, if you're going to reissue the figure, reissue the figure. If you're going to recolor it a little bit to make it look different like they did, that's fine. You know, throw in that extra head, that's great. But keep the extra stuff, because now I feel like I missed out on a lot of stuff. You know, he had, the first one had the stock, the silencer, and had the sword, I know. I think it came with some other things too, but I'm not entirely sure. And being the same price as the original one, you know, maybe ditch the sword for the mace, that's fine, but give me the stock and silencer and give me a different head. You know, throw in the extra head. You know, that'd be fine. I'd be okay with that. But since I didn't, that's a knock against it. The transformation, mostly this arm really has me concerned for the longevity of that part. So that's a knock against it. The fact that there's clear plastic in joints, in ratcheted joints, is a knock against it. The fact that things can't quite hold together when you're transforming it. Like the trigger came off. You saw me transforming it. The trigger came off. The barrel continuously falls off. The silence or the scope is on there pretty well, so that's not a problem. And the fact that he's really, I kind of feel lied to on the size. A lot of pictures made him look a lot bigger than Classics Megatron scale, and he's not. So ultimately, and you know, the overall cost of the figure, quality control. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has, or I'm, you know, if anybody out there that's watching this has two left fists, let me know. Maybe we can just swap them out. But I mean, just general quality control of the figure, you know, the stress marks, stuff like that. Yeah, I have to say I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. And that's probably the lowest score I've given in a while. Oh, that's not true. Wheelie got a 0, I think. But for a high-priced figure, a 6 out of 10 is kind of pathetic, to be honest. And for the cost, I have to say, unless you're a huge Megatron fan or a huge Toyworld fan, I would say pass on this one. When you take into account that you can get the Classics Megatron for about $30, you can get the Henkei one for about $60, and United one for about $100, and there's the Leader Class one around the corner for $50. Or $45, I think. You know, $110 figure that is okay might not be worthwhile. So ultimately, those are my thoughts. I can't sit here and say get this figure right now. It's really not worth it. I do regret buying him, to be honest. You know, Classics or the iGear Faith Leader here. You know, he's got a lot of issues too, but he still looks really nice. Transforms pretty decently, and you know, I don't regret buying him. I kind of regret buying him because, you know, knowing that there's that Leader Class one around the corner. And the fact that this guy isn't that bad, you know, he's a pretty good figure, and the United one's just spot on accurate, pretty much, paint scheme wise, anyway. I mean, yeah, the wings are goofy, but you know, if you ditch the wings like a lot of people do, he looks pretty. They look pretty close. Transformation on him is a lot more fun, and there's no parts that sit there like, I'm gonna break this. So it's just kind of question. I just have to question, you know, the value of something. Especially the main reason why I bought him was that he was supposed to be so much taller than Classics Megatron, and he really isn't, and that's really upsetting. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people, you know, posed him in a way so that he was looking a lot taller, because a lot of pictures I saw of him made him look almost a head taller than him, and he's not. He's, like I said, about maybe that much, and that's, you know, maybe a third of a head. Yeah, it doesn't sit well with me. I feel kind of cheated and lied to about that. And I was planning on this huge, you know, blowing this guy up, so, because, you know, to make room for the new Megatron, but I don't really want to do that now. I'm kind of questioning on whether or not I'm going to keep him. I probably will, because he does look more like a G1 Megatron than he does, and maybe I'll feel better once I get the feet extensions on there. But I guess we'll see what happens when that happens. So yeah, there's Toyworld or Hegemon.